Hi, it's Daniela Ginas, founder of She's the Boss, back with lesson of the day. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning on Instagram, I do a live, typically at 8:35. I'm a bit late today, where I share the lessons that I've learned in business over the last 15 years, the lessons that I've learned from supporting all of the entrepreneurs, small business owners that I've worked with over the last kind of 5 years, and all of the learning that I have participated in over the last kind of throughout my whole life. And the aim is to entertain you. No, not entertain you. That's the complete wrong word. To inform you, to inspire you, to empower you, to learn from my mistakes, to learn from the mistakes of those who I've worked with, and to just be better at business. So the theme for July are the nine lessons that I've learned on my entrepreneurial journey. So I'm looking at kind of the key lessons that I've learned from starting a business, my first business in 2006, selling it in 2015, having a business in between 2013 and 2015, and then running She's the Boss kind of unofficially since 2017, but I'd say officially, really running the business properly since the end of 2019. And today's lesson is entitled Education is the Key to Success. So good morning and thank you for joining me if you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching anyway. And I hope that you find this useful. So when people speak about education, typically the first thing that comes to mind is formal education. And whilst formal education is something that I'm going to discuss, it's not the only form of education that I think is useful on an entrepreneurial journey. So really there's two types of education. You've got your formal education, so university, formal qualifications, professional qualifications, etc. But then you have also your informal qualifications, or your informal education, And I think one of the key things that I've encountered while supporting a lot of business owners over the last few years is there seems to be a lack of consideration of how important it is to educate yourself, and educate yourself either formally or informally. And instead of kind of going out there and trying to learn more, we try to do more and learn from our mistakes. Now, whilst there is some value of learning on the job, you can move at a much faster pace if you learn from the kind of the educational stuff that is out there that has been set from and kind of put together by people that have already learnt from those mistakes. So when I speak about informal education, I'm speaking about connecting with individuals such as myself and learning from, the lessons that we share as in terms of coaches, consultants, mentors, those kind of people. But also kind of going out and learning by reading books. Reading books is something that I like. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not obviously in my car this morning. I'm in a hotel room. But I came to a hotel last night. I brought 4 books. There's no way that between last night and this morning I could have read 4 books. It's impossible. However, I brought the books so I could dip in and out a couple of them because I am constantly and continuously trying to learn more about everything that I do. And reading books is a great way of doing that. Now, you may say, well, I'm running a business, I'm busy, I don't have time for books. But actually, by reading the books, you're unlocking the key to success, because there's people that have already walked the walk that you're walking and have left clues behind to tell you how to do it. And why would you disadvantage yourself by not taking on those lessons from the people that have written these books so that you can be informed, so that you can be educated, so that you know what to do and what not to do. So you really should make sure that you're dedicating time on a weekly basis, and even if possible, although it's probably a stretch, on a daily basis. What are the books that are kind of informing your next moves? What are the books that are giving you different perspectives? Who are the authors that have achieved the level of success that you're aspiring to? They're the books that you should be reading and consistently doing so. So that's one form of informal education. A morning to everybody that's joined: Crown of Victory, Louis, Kayla, Kale, Jim, morning True, morning Anais Arts, morning FP Comms, Nick Fords, Lisa, Jen, and also Conscious Feminine Leadership. Good morning, Lara. Thank you for joining me today. So your library should be constantly evolving and constantly building. And some people don't like physical books. I love physical books, but there's also Audible. You can get Audible on your phone and you can listen to books. So there's not really any excuse anymore to say, well, I don't have any space to put a book in my bag. I don't like holding books. You can listen to books. Audible is great. You can, and I recently discovered, because I'm part of a book club, and the ladies in the book club told me that you can change the speed that the Audible reads to you. So if you're, because a couple of the books I've listened to, I'm like, why do these people speak so slow? You probably can tell I speak quite quickly. So you can actually speed up the audio so that it speaks at, the narrator speaks at a pace that is comfortable for you. So there's no excuses for not reading books. And a great book that I always recommend to all of my clients. So if you're running a small business, make sure that you go out and buy this book today. And it's The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. The E-Myth is kind of one of the inspirations for me, focusing so heavily on systems and processes, and really kind of enabling me to understand the importance of running a business that is not owner reliant. So if you're trying to run your business and get your business to a point that it's not reliant heavily on you, and you need, I suppose, more of an embedded understanding of why that's important, if I've not given it enough, because I speak about systems and processes all the time, check out that book. It really changed my life and changed the lives of many of the people that I've gifted it to and spoken about it who've gone on to buy it. So reading and informing yourselves, educating yourselves is essential. Also, podcasts. Now, podcasts is like the in thing. For many, many years, I've been kind of extolling the virtues of podcasts. There's so many fantastic podcasts out there that can really help, again, to give you a different perspective, to inform you about different things relating to life and business. It's not just business. When you're educating yourself, you should also be educating yourself from a personal development perspective. So doesn't necessarily always have to be about business. It can also be about kind of personal development, because the better you are as an individual, the better you're going to be as an entrepreneur. So there's lots of podcasts out there. I'm trying to think of my faves. To be honest, I love Russell Brand Under the Skin podcast, which is now on a platform called Luminary, so you have to pay. So I've kind of stopped listening to it. I'm being cheap. But there's lots of kind of snippets of the podcast on YouTube. So I spend a lot of time listening to Russell Brand Under the Skin. And that's more of it's not business, it's more of a personal development. So he interviews different people, but he also just speaks himself about things going on in the world, and things going on in politics and society. And he's just a really deep critical thinker. So that's something that I listen to quite regularly. I'm trying to think of the business podcast that I listen to. When I'm going to do I'm going to put together a list of kind of my favourite podcasts and my favourite books. Nick Ford, Good Morning. I bought that book years ago, still haven't read it. I'm grateful for buying books and never reading them. Read it today. Even if you just read a page, start today. It's a fantastic book, and it's not a book that you have on your bookshelf and don't read. You must read it. So get that down today and have a read. So podcasts, YouTube, you don't have to listen to just listen to podcasts. There's lots of YouTube series that you can watch. I have a YouTube series, Female Entrepreneur Stories, where I've interviewed, I think, 98 women in business, all at very different stages of their entrepreneurial journeys. But what they all do is they share their 3 pieces of advice for success. They also, I think more latterly, not all of them, but many of them now, have been sharing their book and podcast recommendations. So go and check that out. Really useful, lots of information. And their ladies are from different backgrounds, different countries, different stages of their entrepreneurial journeys, and running different types of businesses. So I've got product-based businesses, service-based businesses, coaches, authors, lots of variety. So go and check that out. But there's also lots of different YouTube series out there that, again, can educate you around business and around personal development. So you don't necessarily always have to pay to be educated. You just have to have the commitment and the dedication to want to do better. If you want to do better, it's not good enough to say, I'm just going to do. I often speak about the difference between strategic actions and operational actions. And a lot of us are stuck in operations, just running the business on a day-to-day basis, going through the motions, every day, just doing things and not necessarily thinking about the long-term future, which is more of the strategic stuff, the stuff that's going to move you forward, the stuff that's kind of future focused. And I would say the kind of education and self-education is more future focused. You're building up yourself now so that you're able to be better in the future. So read your books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, but also, and it's kind of, I suppose, a little bit more formal, but there's online courses. Do online courses. There's lots of online courses, and also communities. So I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Enterprise Nation, for example, is one. The FSB is another. If you're based in the UK, there's the Chambers of Commerce, and all of those different membership organisations and groups have training. I run training sessions that sometimes they're cheap, sometimes they're free, sometimes they're chargeable. But either way, it's an opportunity for you to expand your knowledge, to increase your awareness and understanding of certain critical key business success factors. So if you're really serious about being success in business, how are you not on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis educating, improving yourself? And actually, I've kind of jumped ahead. What I should have started with is the importance of knowing where your gaps in knowledge are. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know because we don't know that we need to know it. But there's certain things. Good morning, Roses Management. We're just talking about educating yourself for business success. You don't know what you don't know, but also there's certain things that you do know that you don't know. And you need to be making sure that, really, I'd say on a quarterly basis, but also annually, you're looking at doing a skills audit. So what are the skills that I have? What are the skills that need improving? What are the skills that I don't have at all that need to be added to my repertoire? So really get into the habit of doing skills audits, and also looking at your strengths and weaknesses, which is essentially kind of a similar but not exactly the same thing. And where you identify those gaps, put together a personal development learning plan and set targets, because this is the thing. There's no point, I speak about this a lot, there's no point just sitting here and saying, oh, well, I know I'm not good at that, I'm going to do something at some point, because some point will never come. We need to take action today. You decide, okay, well, these are the things that I need to improve upon. This is what I'm going to do in this week, this month, this quarter, this year, in order to improve upon those areas, in order to upskill in those areas. Don't wait for years to pass to say, oh, I didn't do that. And don't wait until you're in a situation where you need that knowledge or you need those skills to then try and go and upskill. Set deadlines, set dates for when you are going to go and educate yourself in these specific areas. And I think that's really important. And that's really, for me, the difference between a business owner that's just getting by and an entrepreneur that's really making waves. It's those people that are really committed to improving themselves and are doing it in a consistent and kind of coherent fashion. So identifying the areas of weaknesses or the skills deficits, setting a plan for upskilling, and setting dates and deadlines for making that happen. And that's really key. So you've got the kind of informal education, and also informal education can be through peer mentoring. So buddying up with somebody else that may be in a different industry or at a different stage and kind of doing mentoring, cross-mentoring. I think cross-mentoring is really important. Having a mentor, having a coach is also educational, because the coach or the mentor is going to advise you and tell you about things that you may not have heard of. And I know that people will sit and say, oh, well, I don't know. There's a lot of criticism around coaching and mentoring, I feel, at the moment. And that's why I try to be very specific with saying I'm not just like any other coach. I personally have educated myself to a point that I know that I can have an impact on the clients that I work with, and I've got a proven track record of it. So it's not that you need to just say, well, I just need to get a coach or a mentor. Make sure you do due diligence. Make sure that the person that you're working with has educated themselves to a level that they're able to educate, teach, inform, empower you, but also make sure that they've got results. So just because they said they can do it, have they got any evidence and examples of doing it before? Or do they have testimonials, case studies? Do they have clients that you can speak to who can say, well, yeah, actually, I didn't know about this area, and after working with this person, now I do? Because that is also education. Rose's management said cross-mentoring is literally what I need, but it's hard finding the right one. Yeah, finding a good mentor can be quite complex. I think it's easier to find a good coach because coaches you typically pay for, and mentoring you don't always pay for. But there's lots of people out there. It's just about really identifying also somebody that, again, you see is doing good things, is making an impact, and approaching them. So that's kind of the informal education. But also, I think formal education in the kind of enterprise space gets a really bad rep. People say, oh, you don't need a degree to go to become an entrepreneur. You don't need formal education to be an entrepreneur. Gary Vee didn't go to university. This person didn't go to university, blah, blah, blah. Fine. As somebody that has 3 degrees, obviously I am quite big on formal education. I know it's not for everyone, but I think that we need to stop putting this kind of negative spin on education and entrepreneurship, and as though they're kind of total opposites. You can't be a good entrepreneur if you're formally educated. I know people say that education stifles creativity, but actually for me, it's done the total opposite. Firstly, my first degree was in media and enterprise, so it was a creative degree. So obviously it didn't stifle any creativity for me. My second degree was a master's in media enterprise. So it was a business focused degree, but focused specifically on the creative industries. So media, music, like performing arts, all of those kind of things. And then my third degree is an MBA specializing in strategy, advanced strategy. Now, did I need those degrees to be a good entrepreneur? Not necessarily. However, have they had an impact on my entrepreneurial journey? Absolutely. Now, people say, oh, it's just a piece of paper. Well, it's way more than a piece of paper. That's the first thing. Formal education has given me so many different things that have really helped me on my entrepreneurial journey. The first thing is research skills. In all of my degrees, I've had to do a dissertation. And as part of those dissertations, I've had to go out and do research, quantitative and qualitative research, and put together a hypothesis, an argument, and use the research to kind of either prove or disprove the hypotheses that I have created. What do we do in business? We have to go out and we research our target market. We then create products or services that are going to engage with that target market. That's what you learn on a university degree program. You also learn critical thinking, how to make arguments for and against something. That technically is kind of sales. When I'm trying to sell, I'm trying to make an argument as to why you need something and why you shouldn't go with a competitor. Most of all, however, the biggest lesson that the biggest skill, that formal education gave me is discipline. I will say that I've always been quite a disciplined person, but going to university really kind of honed that discipline skill and really got me to a point where now I would say I'm probably one of the most disciplined people when it comes to work. Not necessarily other things, like I'm not that disciplined with food, but that's a separate issue entirely. When it comes to work, I'm very disciplined, I'm very methodical. And that was because when you are doing multiple modules and you've got multiple exams and coursework and you're doing a dissertation and everything else is going on around you, you have to be disciplined. Now, you can learn discipline without going to university. I'm not saying you have to go to university to be disciplined or to be a critical thinker or to be good at research. You don't. However, those universities, I would say, really hone, nurture, and strengthen those skills. In addition to kind of what you choose to do at university, when I was at university the first time for my undergrad, I started an African Caribbean Society, which I then started doing event management, really loved it. And my first business then was in event management. For my subsequent 2 degrees, I did business plans. Those business plans, particularly the business plan that I did for my MBA, the business that I'm running now is based on the business plan that I created for my dissertation for my MBA. The research that I did has informed the work that I do now. I was researching the barriers to entry for female entrepreneurs, the barriers to growth for female entrepreneurs. So I did research, I think with about 300 plus women who were either in business or who wanted to start businesses that hadn't and haven't. The services that I provide are as a direct consequence of that research that I did on my MBA program. Had I not gone to university and done my MBA specifically, I probably wouldn't be doing this business right now. So there are so many benefits that formal education can give you that I don't necessarily think applies in the same way if you do informal education. Am I saying that you all need to go and do an MBA? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying if you have been thinking about going down the formal education route and people have been saying, oh, you don't need formal education to be an entrepreneur, do it. You don't need it, but it's only going to be of benefit to you. In addition to that, the fact that, well, not even the fact that, whilst I was starting and running my first business, and at times where money wasn't necessarily as up as I needed it to be, one of the things that I was able to do is to become a university lecturer. I was able to do that because I had 2 degrees. I had neither one of my degrees at that point, and still isn't, were in education. I had no experience of being a lecturer, but I went to, I had a connection from when I'd done my master's. One of my lecturers said that they were looking for somebody to do an event management module in the business school. I went in and spoke to the head of the business school. I told him, look, I have an undergrad degree, I have a master's, I've been running this business and doing kind of informal training. I think I can put together a module. I was able to put together the module again because previously on my degrees, I'd had to put together project plans and those kind of things. And they hired me pretty much on the spot. And for 4 years, I was a visiting lecturer and a dissertation supervisor for MSc students. I haven't even got an MSc. And it helps to supplement my income. So even when we're thinking about multiple streams of income, if you're able to educate yourself both formally and informally, it opens you up to be able to generate income and revenues from multiple sources. I was able to get that visiting lecturer and dissertation supervisor role because of my qualifications. I don't think I would have been able to do it without. And it paid good money, very good money, in fact. And also what was great, I left probably a year before I had my daughter, and the university paid me maternity pay because I'd been there for so long. I didn't even know. I went there to get a form and they was like, oh, have you not applied for your maternity pay? I get maternity pay as a visiting lecturer because I wasn't a contracted member of staff, but because I'd been in service for an extended period of time, they paid me maternity pay. So you might not need maternity pay. That's just one random example. But I hope that you understand the point that I'm making. Rose's management said education is important. If you have the opportunity, take it for sure. Neat Ford says very true. And also I was really lucky with both of my masters. I was able to get a scholarship, so I didn't actually pay. So that was the other thing. Research skills. I've always been quite good at researching. When I did my undergrad, I found a company in Nottingham, which is where I'm originally from, who sponsored me. So they didn't pay my fees, but they paid my living expenses for the whole of the university period. It wasn't loads. I think they was giving me like £500 a term, but it was something that I put to good use. And then for my master's, I then was able to get a scholarship because they wanted more women to do entrepreneurial degrees. So I got that for free. And then for my MBA, because I had done, again, another training, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, they were then providing scholarships for people that had done that program to do their MBA. So I got that for free as well. So also, I think one of the great things when you do formal education is once you're in kind of the universities, and if you kind of show and demonstrate that you're entrepreneurial and that you're hardworking, etc., they tend to bring you back. So I'm going to be doing a series of workshops, for example, in the autumn for Birmingham City University, which is where I did my undergrad, where I did my master's, where I was a visiting lecturer, and I've kept really good relationships with many of the people there. So they bring me back every so often and pay me to do other things. So that's, again, another benefit of formal education. So think about kind of the routes that you want to take to improve yourself as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as somebody that's trying to achieve success. Success leaves clues. I'm leaving the clues. I'm not at the height of success yet, but I may be further ahead on my entrepreneurial journey than some of you watching. And I'm telling you the things that have helped me to get to where I am right now. And also a lot of the clients that I've worked with is education. Not always university education, but sometimes it's kind of the informal kind of formal education. So as I said, the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program I did in 2012 into 2013 made a huge impact on me. I learned so much about business. from a practical perspective, because the university programs, so the masters and the MBA, kind of taught me the critical components, the kind of theories, the methodologies, that kind of thing. But actually the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program taught me more about the practical stuff, and particularly because of the people that I met. So this is another reason why kind of training programs, group coaching, masterminds, all of those kind of things are great, because not only are you going to learn from whoever's leading these programs and I suppose the materials, etc., but also you get to learn from the people who are on the program with you. So when I went on the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, I thought that a lot of the challenges that I was facing in my business were very specific to, number one, the type of business that I was running, and number two, the stage of business that I was at. When I went on that program, there were people that had £1 million businesses. My business was just in the early six figures. There were people that were running commercial businesses, product-based businesses. I was a social enterprise that was delivering a service. Yet, pretty much all of these businesses were going through some of the same pain points, had some of the same similar challenges. And that really helped me to understand that it wasn't a deficit in me specifically. It was just, this is what happens in business. But then also I started to look at, okay, how do we overcome these things? And that's how I've then developed the visa model, which is what I use to support my clients to overcome some of those similar challenges. So education in kind of a group setting is really beneficial and advantageous, because it gives you the opportunity to see what other people are doing, to learn from your peers, and also to build networks. So some of the people on my masters, on my MBA, I'm still in touch with now. A lot of the people on the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, I'm still in touch with now. So it gives you the opportunity to expand your networks. And that's another great thing that you need if you're trying to be successful. You need to have a strong network, and you can achieve that through a variety of ways, but formal and informal education are one of the, or two of the ways that you can do that. So that's it for today. Quick recap: if you want to be successful in business, education is the key. There's two types of education: formal and informal. Both of them are useful. Both of them can help improve your skills, improve your knowledge. One of the key things you should be doing is doing a skills audit, looking at the strengths and weaknesses that you have, recognizing, acknowledging the gaps in skills and knowledge that you have, setting a plan for building up the skills and the knowledge in those areas, setting deadlines for when you're going to actually go out and do the things that need to be done. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube series, get a mentor, get a coach, join a group program, join a mastermind, do training, do formal training or informal training with organizations, groups, bodies, and be better, do better. I've been speaking a lot this year about big business energy. If you're trying to really build a business that is successful, no man is an island. You cannot do it alone. Learn from the mistakes of the people that have walked the walk before you. Success leaves clues. Follow the steps of those people that have left the clues behind. And that's it for today. And if you're sitting here thinking, I really just don't know where to start and you need some assistance, get in touch. I'm not currently taking on any more one-to-one coaching clients because I'm fully booked now until the end of September, I believe. I need to go and check. That might be the middle of September. But yeah, I'm not taking any new clients on presently. However, I am doing a couple of group sessions. So next month, August, I'm going to be starting the Sprint for Growth program, which is a weekly accountability program for, well, kind of early to mid-stage entrepreneurs. Every week we look at a different topic, we set goals. You have to go away and do tasks, all with the aim of accelerating your growth over a period of 6 to 8 weeks. I haven't decided if it's 6 to 8 yet. But if you want to sign up for Sprint for Growth, drop me an email to bookings@she'sthebossintl.com. Previous clients have gone on Sprint for Growth, secured new contracts, secured international contracts, secured funding. It's a great environment. The peers support each other, push each other, hold each other accountable. So that's going to be starting in August, Sprint for Growth. Additionally, on the 20th of August, I have Build My Business Masterclass, which is a half-day session. I'm going to be teaching you how to build a business that is not reliant on you, how to map processes, how to create an operations manual for your business, how to onboard staff, how to outsource, and all of those fantastic things. Again, if you want to sign up for that, drop me an email to bookings@she'sthebossintl.com. And I think that's it. I am taking on Vision 20 clients. If you want to just get some clarity on the vision and the direction of your business, half a day Vision 20 session. I do have a couple of slots available in August. I don't have anything left in July. If you want to sign up for that, again, bookings at she'sthebossintl.com. And all of the information about all of the services are available on my website, www.she'sthebossintl.com. I don't think the Build My Business Masterclass is up yet, but you can find the information on my Instagram page. And if you haven't already bought your She's the Boss merchandise, head over to I Got the Tea on Instagram. You can get t-shirts, hoodies and sweaters with the term Big Business Energy on, and think big, take action, keep pushing. I don't know why I'm doing the movements. It's on the top and I'm still doing the movement. And yeah, you remember to think big, take action and keep pushing. And taking action means get a book and read it. Myth Revisited, Michael E. Gerber. If you haven't got it, add it to the list. And also another good one is Fast Lane Millionaire by MJ DeMarco. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening. Morning Ejide and Anais Arts, thank you both also for staying to the end. Take care. Have a great day.